Were any of you ever contacted in your professional positions as to what effect any of these rule changes or even any of this legislation that's been passed here would affect your business or your ability to do business?
Directly, no.
No.
Okay.
I just talked to Tom, and ASA had no one from EPA contact them. You would think they would.
You would.
Congressman, I can't speak for American Farm Bureau, but Georgia Farm Bureau has not been contacted.
Any from the educational?
No, not that I know of.
Academic, okay. You know, and that's one of the problems that we have up here. We and you know, I guess I'll include myself in on this, but a lot of times people up here think they know more about your business than you know, and especially that goes for the elected, and the non-elected sometimes are even worse as far as writing some of these rules and regulations. Mr. Biofuels, you mentioned the I believe it was you that mentioned the grants, the USDA, about the ones that produced 150 million gallons or more. Or was it you?
That was me.
Mr. Wood? Okay,
Yes.
You mentioned that. Is that going to be how many gallons do you produce, or do y'all produce a year?
We have a capacity of 20 million gallons a year, but we're only producing about 2. So the 150 million gallon benchmark for the 95% of the funds available is going to include most of the industry.
Okay, so
there's maybe a handful of producers that are over that capacity.
So that would probably include 99% of them.
I would say
there's very few that
yes.
would probably produce more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And let me ask Dr. Doss a question. You know, all the money that we're spending that goes along with green energy or whatever, what percentage of that is going into studying it? I mean, you know, looking at the consequences of it and how it's paying off. I mean, how much of that is going into just giving it to folks that are kind of leading the charge on this?
Congressman, I don't know the exact numbers, but I keep track of a lot of the funding opportunities that come out from the USDA, DOE. Most of those are in either the development of technology or conversion aspects. And as far as I remember, there's not any that actually looks at the impacts of technology on the wider economy or the environment that is directly available.
And how about the research and development of these different types of things? You mentioned the biochar. How much money out of this, you know, let's just use the stimulus package.
Yes.
The billions of dollars that we had there, how much of that money went into research and development on some of these biofuels?
As far as I know, there's no money in there for biochar, and it is listed, it is authorized under the Farm Bill, but it has not been picked up by the federal agencies and supported.
Thank you. And Mr. Duvall, you were talking about the forest part of it, the managed forest, I guess, as far as the biomass.
Right.
Can you explain how this rule is kind of working against us on that?
In Georgia, we, according to the Georgia Forestry Commission, we have about 28 million acres of forest land with biomass on it. And under the definition that's in this act, only about 7 million of those 25 million would be would classify in that range. And a lot of the small family farms are just not going to be able to fit in under that definition because they're not a tree plantation.
Yeah. And I believe the word there was managed.
Right, a managed tree plantation.
And why would they include that language to so narrowly focus on it? Do you have any reason?
You know, I can speculate what their intent was. You know, it maybe go back to how land's being used and what the potential of the trees that might be cut if they let all of it be accessible. But in Georgia, we're going to grow the biomass. If it's cut, it's going to be replanted, and we're going to grow jobs. We're going to grow jobs with trees. That's just what we do in Georgia, because that land is what it does best.
And Dr. Doss, you're a professional in this, but some of those trees that we have and that maybe are on some of these farms that fall and are rotting, don't they put off an emission that's bad for the atmosphere?
Absolutely. Most trees generally have a life cycle of about 30 years, and all that carbon is simply going back into the atmosphere.
And so all of these trees I see got the beetle infestation and dying or stuff. If on somebody's private land that's not on one of these managed, we can't. That doesn't count, right?
And ideally, that's good biomass that could go very well into the process of biofuel production.
Thank you.